Creatine doesn't help every type of exercise equally. This isn't a weakness. It's a feature of a supplement that works through a specific, well-defined mechanism rather than a vague and generalized one. Understanding which exercise intensities and durations benefit most from creatine directly predicts your own expected response. The phosphocreatine system, the one creatine directly expands, dominates during the first 8 to 12 seconds of maximal effort. This is the energy system that powers a heavy deadlift, a 40-meter sprint, a maximal vertical jump, a powerful swimming start, a karate combination, or a rugby lineout. Any effort that is brief, explosive, and maximal draws heavily on phosphocreatine. When your phosphocreatine reservoir is fuller, as it is with creatine supplementation, these efforts can be sustained at maximal intensity slightly longer, and the reservoir recharges more quickly during rest periods. Beyond about 12 seconds of continuous maximal effort, glycolysis takes over an increasing share of energy production. In the 30-second to 2-minute range of maximal or near maximal effort, glycolysis is the primary contributor. Creatine's direct benefit in this zone is indirect. It delays the transition from phosphocreatine to glycolysis by a few seconds, and it supports faster phosphocreatine recovery during any brief recovery intervals within the effort. The benefit is real but smaller than in the under 12-second zone. For efforts longer than 2 to 3 minutes at high intensity, or any sustained moderate intensity aerobic work, the aerobic oxidative system is the dominant energy pathway. Creatine does not improve VO2 max, lactate threshold, or aerobic enzyme activity in any meaningful direct sense. The aerobic system is not where the phosphocreatine mechanism operates. Now for sports that don't fit neatly into a single intensity zone. Football, basketball, tennis, badminton, MMA, and rugby all involve repeated short explosive bouts separated by variable rest periods. In these sports, creatine benefits accumulate across the match. Each sprint is fueled partly by phosphocreatine, each rest period allows partial recovery of that reservoir, and the rate of recovery determines how much power is available for the next explosive moment. The evidence for creatine in repeated sprint sports is strong and consistent, precisely because this is the energy demand profile that aligns most directly with the phosphocreatine mechanism. The population that sees the least direct benefit from creatine supplementation in terms of exercise performance is endurance athletes whose sports are entirely aerobic, continuous, and non-explosive. Distance running, long cycling, open water swimming. If the entirety of the performance is driven by the aerobic system, creatine's direct performance impact is minimal. This doesn't mean endurance athletes should avoid creatine. The cognitive benefits, injury recovery benefits, and training quality improvements during high-intensity training sessions within an endurance program all remain valid. But the primary performance effect requires matching the supplement's mechanism to the energy system that limits your performance. If your training and competition draw heavily on the first 12 seconds of maximal effort, creatine is directly targeting your rate-limiting energy system. If it doesn't, creatine's contribution is real but more indirect and more modest. The population where the intensity-specificity argument becomes most practical is mixed-demand sports players who are trying to decide how much creatine matters for their sport. A badminton player alternates between explosive smashes and net play, brief sprints and slower positional movement. A football player might sprint maximally for 3 to 5 seconds, walk for 30, jog for 10, and repeat hundreds of times across 90 minutes. A martial artist performs explosive combinations of 2 to 5 seconds, separated by clinch work and repositioning. In each of these cases, the question isn't whether the phosphocreatine system is relevant. It obviously is for the explosive moments, but how much of total match performance is governed by phosphocreatine availability? The research on creatine in these mixed-demand sports consistently shows significant performance benefits. Even though these sports aren't purely phosphocreatine dependent, the brief explosive efforts within them are exactly where a fuller reservoir makes the difference between adequate and superior output. For the badminton player, a more fully recharged phosphocreatine system between rallies means the smash at the end of a long rally hits harder. For the footballer, faster phosphocreatine recovery during the brief rest periods between sprints means sprint number 15 across a match is closer in quality to sprint number 1.